Hi guys, this is like my third vlog tonight. I'm gonna do a poem called The Man That's Supposed to Love Me. I still remember when I wrote this poem because it was one of my first poems. I wrote this when I was like 16. I wrote it when I was at school one day. I was probably bored in class and I just decided to write. This poem stands out for me because I remember when I wrote it and I brought it home, and the poem's about domestic violence. I've never been in an abusive relationship ever in my life, and but I know like women that have. And I remember coming home after school, and I remember like this is probably I think one of the first times I showed my mom my poems, and I read it to her. And I remember after I was done reading, you know, my mom just burst into tears and she started crying, and I was like, I mean, why are you crying, Mom? Was the poem bad? What? And she's just like, there's no way you could have written that poem, Guyleigh. And I was like, yes, Mom. I mean, I swear, I really wrote that poem. And she's just like, there's no way that you wrote that poem. She's like, you wrote that like you experienced it. She's like, I swear to God, like it feels like you've been in that kind of relationship. Like, how do you know those feelings? And I was just like, I don't know. Like, I put it into my perspective. Like, I thought about if I was ever in that situation, or if I was ever undergoing those emotions or with somebody like that, how would I feel? And I don't know. I just wrote. I just took the pen to the paper and I just wrote. And she just couldn't believe it. And I remember her saying that day, she's like, you have a gift. And she was like, you have to share that gift. Like, you have to, other people need to hear those stories. Other people need to know that they're not alone. And she's like, you know, God's given you something and you have to use it. And I think from like there on, I just kept writing. Like, I was focused, and I actually felt that I had something. If you are a woman that's in an abusive relationship, you need to get out. You need to realize that you're so much more, you're worth more than being bet. You're worth more than being bruised. Your skin is way too beautiful. Your mind is way too beautiful, and you just don't deserve it. You have to. The man that's supposed to love me. It's beating after beating, mistreating after mistreating. The arguments keep heating. I really feel like leaving, but I just keep believing that. This is the man that's supposed to love me. He punches me so I yell. I reach to him for help. He pushes me off, undoes my belt. I push him off, but my body's too strained. I dig my fingers in his back, no pleasure but for pain. Then he touches me up again, and I try to maintain my composure, but it's over. My throat slowly loses closure. I feel like I'm dead. The blood rushes to my head. He throws me off the bed. Then he said, you know I love you, baby. And I said to myself, does this man really love me? I touched my body and it felt dirty to me. Like this man perverted me, left me and deserted me. How come my man hurts me? He left me all alone, but for once alone felt like home. The pain was finally gone and the sun had finally shone. I looked myself in the mirror and said, you need to get better. And now being alone never felt better, because I realized that man never loved me.